Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. You've probably all heard a version of the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. Here's our version. If you want a quick start, go alone. But if you want to finish strong, go together. If you live with someone, husband, wife, maybe a friend, raise your right hand. If you work with someone, clients, keep your hands up, keep your hands up. If you work with someone, maybe clients, suppliers, friends, that type of stuff, raise your other hand. Awesome. If you don't have your hand up right now, you're not listening. You're on your phone. If you have both hands up, that's awesome. But ultimately, what we're about to talk about isn't just about working with your spouse. This applies to everybody in this room. And we don't care what business you're in. The foundation of all successful business, it ties back to the strength of relationships.
So let's just be clear. This was all part of the plan, meaning Tim and I in business together. We didn't go into business because of convenience or lifestyle choices, nor would you marry someone for those same reasons, or I hope not. We believe this statement to be true. If you want to finish strong, go together. And this is our belief, it's our mindset, and it's our commitment. And why? Because the reality is the odds are stacked against us. In the first 10 years in business, 96% of those businesses will fail. And as you heard earlier, those that succeed to the second generation, 70% of those businesses will fail. And the statistics for marriage, they aren't that much better. 40% of all marriages will end in divorce. So in the year 2020 marks some big milestones. Our firm, Sutton Financial Group, will celebrate 30 years in business with a successful transition to the second generation, as Stuart shared. And Tim and I will celebrate 20 years in marriage. So you can clap. So of course, I think that we are sort of unique and special at Sutton Financial Group. So I'll just share a bit of a story about how we came together. So this is our partnership by night and by day. So just a cool story about how we came together. So our partner Jay Stark on your far right, he's kind of the link to this partnership. So Jay originally partnered with Stuart Sutton and his father Bob Sutton, who founded our firm. Against the advice of many, you should never partner with a father and son. And Jay did it anyways. And then Jay just happened to be Tim and I's financial planner, if you can believe it. He's much older than us.
If you talk to him, it's much, much older.
And then fast forward years later, Jay partners with former clients and a husband and wife against the advice of many. So just raise your hand if you think Jay Stark is crazy. I have proof now. And raise your hand if you think I'm crazy for partnering with 3 men. Yes. So it shouldn't work. That's the reason I tell you this story. It shouldn't work, and it is crazy, but it is working, and it does work. And the reason it works is because we share a foundation of common core values as families and as business partners. And our core values are make a difference, be real, do it together, and love people. We build, we learn, and we share, and we care. It's just who we are and why we do what we do.
When it comes time to our own succession plan, we don't want to be exhausted, miserable, worn out, and alone. We believe to achieve authentic success, you can't have success in one area of your life and not another. You can't have success with your business and not personally. If the business succeeds and our marriage doesn't, we don't believe that's authentic success. So we want to finish strong, and we're going to do this by going together. So over the next 15 minutes, we're going to share 2 critical skills that can help you build successful relationships, whether it's your spouse or a coworker.
So what does it take when the odds are stacked against you to finish strong? Well, as Tim shared, there's 2 critical skills. And the good news is these skills can be learned and developed and built just like a very strong muscle. And what happens when we don't continuously work on that muscle? It gets weak and flabby, and we don't want that. So when you build this muscle, you have to keep working on it. This is a lifelong practice. It's not a check of the box. And as I shared earlier, the strength of our partnership is those common core values that we share together. And there's one more element that's very important that Tim's going to share with you before we move on.
The foundation to all successful partnerships we believe to be equality. Equal input, equal output, equal effort, equal reward. This is not the norm, but remember the statistics that Andrea shared earlier? We don't want to be among the majority in this case. So whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect, by Mark Twain. So the majority in this case is where relationships fail. So there are 4 partners in our business, and we're all equal owners. Any tip of the scale puts pressure, puts an angle, and it puts things off balance. And when things become off balance, the focus becomes the inequality versus the focus of the greater goal, the vision and finishing strong. As partners, we have an abundance mentality. There's more than enough to go around, and not a scarcity mentality. Our pieces of the pie are equal, and we're making the pie much bigger. It's infinite versus worrying about taking a slice from each other. It's that simple.
All right, so now we're ready to share those 2 critical skills, these muscles that you're going to build for your lifetime. So the first one is about building your self-awareness, how to leverage your strengths and understand your blind spots. So here's the news. You may not know this, but you really can't be good at everything. No one's laughing. They're like, yes, I am. I'm good at everything. So why are Tim and I better together? So self-awareness gives you the capacity to learn from your mistakes as well as your successes. It enables you to keep growing. So who am I? I'm independent, I'm self-motivated, I'm always wanting to take charge and be in a leadership role. I'm not bossy, I just have better ideas.
She has this hanging in her office, folks, so don't be afraid.
Some people are scared for Tim.
I think so.
I do love change. I love thinking about the end goal, casting the vision, and rallying our team to achieve that mission. However, sometimes I overlook the steps and the details to achieve that mission, and it gets me into some trouble. But it also takes us to some exciting places we might not have otherwise gone. So what's helped Tim and I and our partners over the years in growing and developing our self-awareness is we're avid readers, listen to lots of podcasts. We've had a number of business coaches over the years, and we've probably done every self-assessment quiz under the sun. Twice over.
Yeah.
So is anybody in the room familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator? Just by show of hands, lots of people. Awesome. So the Myers-Briggs type indicator was something we were introduced to quite a few years ago and had a significant impact on us as partners and our team and our clients. So much so that I became a certified practitioner. So you spend a couple minutes talking with me and I will type you.
Be careful.
Be careful. But to share with you what we learned about ourselves. So my personality profile is I'm an ENFJ, otherwise known as an engaging mobilizer. So E is for extrovert, which means I love people and I'm energized by the outside world. N is for intuition, which means I love change and pursuing possibilities. F is for feeling, which means I make decisions with my heart instead of my head. And J stands for judging, which means I like making decisions and closure and planning. So for Tim and I, we discovered that we are quite compatible and our personality profile is quite similar. Tim is an ESFJ, otherwise known as the servant leader. So where we differ is how we gather information and what type of information we like and we trust. So maybe an example would help, Tim. So an apple. If my friend asked me to describe an apple with my intuition preference, I would immediately think of, first thing I would think of is our trip to Maui that we took with family and friends because we went to a luau and there was a pig roast and there was an apple in the pig's mouth, right? And it also makes me think of my childhood, and my grandma used to wear this little apron and it had little apples on it.
Folks, this is an apple. It's red. There's a bit of yellow. It's kind of warm. It's been in my pocket a while. It smells good. Tastes good. It's an apple.
It's an apple. So this is how Tim and I get into trouble sometimes, because an apple means a lot different things to me than an apple means to Tim. So I used to call Tim my bubble burster because I would have these big ideas and Tim would get all practical about all the details and facts and burst my bubble. But now I recognize that we are such a good complement to each other. He just prefers facts and I prefer ideas.
I am realistic.
I'm more imaginative.
I am specific and practical.
I'm more general and abstract.
I like the present and keeping what is.
And I like the future and what could be. So over the years, I've learned to appreciate and admire those differences in Tim, whereas before I found them annoying and deflating. It's true. Now, Tim's the first person I go to with one of my crazy ideas because he saves me from my crazy ideas, and the ones that are worth pursuing helps bring those to reality. So we believe that developing your self-awareness can't help but improve any relationship in your life. So how do you do that? You do that by learning, by reading, hiring business coaches, doing assessments, asking for feedback, and self-disclosing. And again, this is a lifelong practice because you don't want to end up like this. Good Lord, Ethel, you can't appear in public like that.
That's my future. So Andrew covered the first critical success factor in successfully working with your partner, and I'm going to cover number 2, which is communication, which is really cool because that's a lot of what we're doing today. So in order to communicate well, you need to understand yourself before you can communicate and understand others. Communication is the human connection. It's the key to personal and career success by Paul J. Meyer. So it's not about the channel of communication. We're all familiar with the different channels of communication. We've got texting, we've got emails, we've got phone calls, we've got face-to-face. It's about communicating effectively with someone so your message is heard. So what does that mean? The message will get through if you communicate in another person's style, or what's called their love language. So after we're done today, I'd like you to Google 5 love languages. Now be careful what you click on, but so their love language. Again, this doesn't matter if you're working with your spouse or not. It's about the relationships and really understanding how people feel appreciated. So fortunately, Andrea and I are both extroverts. Surprise, surprise. We're standing on a stage, talking in front of a room. Talking isn't the issue. It's about being heard. Sometimes at our supper table, between the two of us and our 2 kids, you have to raise your hand to get an opportunity to talk. What we've realized over the years is that only 7% of communication is verbal. That means, folks, that 93% of communication is nonverbal. We're talking eye contact, we're talking body language, right? Lots of different forms of communication. My love language is acts of service. That's how I communicate. That's how I show appreciation. I'm a doer. I execute the plan. I love to drive the car. I love to load the car. Whether I work at home, I'm part of getting the job done.
Lucky wife.
Yeah, lucky wife, lucky wife. So it's true that not all communication happens verbally, right? I'm like a magician today. A diamond is a girl's best friend, right? It is real. At least I want her to think that. So shh. So every girl loves diamonds, right? Wrong. It took years in our relationship before I realized I'd give Andrea jewelry for an anniversary. And she'd be like, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. It's awesome. I'm like, try again. Hey, how about this? New, shiny, a little more expensive. Must be doing well. Nothing. I'd load the car. We're going on a trip. That's my thing.
So hard to please.
Acts of service. And she'd be like, all right, let's go. Get in the car. But we'd get in the car and we'd travel together for 2 or 3 hours, trapped in a car. Go with me, guys. Trapped in a car, 2 or 3 hours.
You can't escape me.
And we're talking about our dreams, our vision, the future, which involve personal, professional, right? And at the end of the ride, Andrea would get out and she'd feel loved and heard. Quality time, right? That's her love language. So once I understood that, I stopped giving diamonds. Until today, but we know about that one. It's not that expensive, so we're all good. But lucky for me, that really has helped our financial plan, that's for sure.
And Tim promises me with all those diamonds we're saving on, that we'll have enough for retirement.
The future's looking bleak for the Hansens today. Anyways, no matter how you slice it, communication is key, and you can't communicate enough. When the message isn't getting through and it's misunderstood, you really need to consider all forms of communication to ensure that your messaging is clear and constant.
So how do you finish strong? So no one said it was easy, and it's not easy. It takes hard work and discipline and commitment to protect that relationship from drifting. So what have we learned today? We've learned that the foundation to a successful partnership, any partnership, is those common core values that you protect. And we learned our belief that that partnership is equality. And then we learned 2 critical skills that we can develop and learn throughout our lifetime. Number 1, building your self-awareness, and number 2, improving your communication. So as Tim shared, when it comes time to our own succession plan, we don't want to be alone. We want to be together. We want to be fulfilled. We don't want to be worn out and miserable. And sometimes going together feels like it's going slower, but really it's not, because together we're able to go much further. So sometimes one of us takes the lead and the other falls behind to take a breath.
Sometimes the one in front is pulling the other one from behind.
Sometimes the one in front goes behind and pushes the other to move forward.
Sometimes we run side by side.
We don't keep score.
We are each other's biggest fans.
We uplift each other.
We need each other.
We relate to one another.
We trust each other.
We challenge each other.
And we know when to back down.
It's not forced.
We keep the end in mind.
And we love each other. So Tim, what does it take?
The clock is ticking.
The clock is ticking. So Tim, tell us, what does it take to finish strong?
Finishing strong, you guys, is about reaching your potential. And you'll reach your potential together and have a tremendous impact on the world if you commit to understanding yourself and intentionally communicating clearly and constantly. You will achieve far more than you could ever imagine. And isn't that what we're all meant to do? If you want to finish strong, go together. Thank you. You're sweet.